Hello, everyone. My name is Tristan, and I figured I would give a preview of the solo mode of a new Uwe Rosenberg game called Oranienburger Kanal. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Doesn't matter. We'll move along. Um, it's got like a day left on the Gamefound, so I'm not sure if this is going to end up being helpful for people who want to purchase it because once the Gamefound is done, I'm not sure if there will be a way to obtain this for a while. But I love this game. I've played it solo a couple times. I played a two-player game with a friend recently, and we both agree that we think this might be our favorite Uwe Rosenberg game. And that's saying something because we both very much enjoy the greatest hits like Feast for Odin and whatnot. But there's something about this that takes a lot of boxes. I think it takes a lot of aspects of his other games and kind of creates something that's somewhat familiar but somehow quite different from everything else. And I like it a lot. So I wanted to share it with people. So the solo mode is, like many Rosenberg games, very similar to playing this with another person. Typically, a two-player game is you exchanging being the first player with the other person, and you will go back and forth, either having two actions or three actions each round. And then there's an undetermined amount of rounds. Basically, you play until all of the cards are removed from the top here. And then at the end of the round in which this final deck of cards is gone, then you'll tally up your scores. In the solo mode, you're going to do the same thing, except there's going to be fewer cards to go through, and there's 7 fixed rounds. And you are going to just always have 4 actions per turn, and you got to just try to optimize the best you can with those 4 actions over the course of 7 rounds. And then this little disc that would typically be utilized to represent who's the first player is actually going to be a blocking disc that will not allow us to take a turn on that space. And this is going to, over the each round, it's basically going to go here, then here, then here, then here, and then it's going to jump down here, then here, and then here. And so those that we know what spaces are going to be blocked based on that. Typically, when you're playing this game, you would have these discs stacked on top of one another, and then you would move this as a whole, and then you would basically do this to indicate like what space is what. Tabletopia, whatever, is not the friendliest as far as making that streamlined, so I just put them up here and go in order in this way. So basically, this is set up to play, and then what we just need to do is get our 4 starting buildings put out. And because we're not going to be competing with another player to get these built, we actually need to put these buildings in order from lowest number to highest number, which is on the bottom right here. As you can see, like this is card A14, which is also a way to figure out what this card means if you check the glossary. And then basically at the end of each round, we're going to be removing 2 cards. Unless I build at least 1 building, then this card, the second card, would go. If I end up building 2 buildings, then no cards will go. But it's a way to ensure that buildings are constantly being churned out, even if I'm not building things properly. And then we will add more cards as we go along. So, let's see what we want to do here. So basically, to start, we got to look at what is it that we have that we want to deal with. So this card is going to be based on roads and cards that are in the corners of our grid, which will get us some brick. So that's not too bad. We're going to need train tracks, which tend to be, I think, the more expensive of the routes that we have to build. But that's a pretty good card. That can give us some good wood. We might want this for like the bottom right corner. And this mine is actually pretty good too, except it costs a thaler the money in the game to also produce, and there's no way for us to get that in the first round. But basically what we need to consider is, do we care about building these this round? Because if we do, we're going to need to do so, otherwise they're going to disappear. We don't want that to happen. So Well, let's see. So first of all, we have not enough stuff to make things. So what we're probably going to want to do is go to this space, which will give us 4 wood. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we do have 2 clay, so we could get this bad boy made. And it might be worth doing because then we can build. We only need 1 road, but the problem is we don't want to activate this card unless we can get cards in each of these corners, which I think I'm gonna probably want to do because either this card or this card are gonna be in this corner, I think, just because we have to build off of existing railroads for more railroads. So I'm gonna need to at least build 2 railroads here to ensure really that either of these cards get activated in a meaningful way. And then this card, which requires adjacent canals on the structure, I'm probably just going to want to put here in the corner because we already have a canal going on anyway, and then we'll see if we can build canals around. Canals are incredibly expensive to make because they actually cost 3 thaler, but you do get 2 clay out of it, so sometimes that can be a pretty nice bonus, but they're very spendy to create. You're going to see how we get thaler once we go into the second round. Empty spaces essentially will have some bonus money for us to snatch up when we use those actions after the first round. So I think it's probably not a horrible idea. Let's just get this building built. It's going to cost 1 wood and 2 clay. And I'm going to throw it here on the bottom. And then I am probably going to want to... I mean, it feels bad, but we're going to do 4 clay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because we want to make sure that we have nothing in the 0 space because we're going to get a free movement of this dial at the end of each round, which is going to produce the iron and brick that we're going to want to use. This I'm not gonna be able to make until next turn, and I'm gonna have to take a couple actions to get the thaler that I need to pay this cost. But I will be I'll be producing an ore at the end of this round, so like this will be something that's available, and these are pretty decent bonuses for activation. So for the final, knowing, do I want to start making some routes or do I want to just stock up on goods? Part of me thinks that we want to stock up on some goods. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just go to this space and do 3 more wood. And that's it. That's how exciting the first round is. So for starters, we would put a thaler on any of the bottom spaces that have not been used, but we used all of them. So I am not going to get any money off of that. And that's on me for poor planning. We'll move the disk to the next appropriate space, and then all of these spaces are going to have money on them. And then we're going to get a free tick, boop, of the wheel. So my ore goes to 0, my clay went to 3, and my wood went to 5. But now I have an iron and a brick. So that's pretty cool. And then we need to look at, oh, you know what? I totally failed because this is going to go away. That's fine, whatever. So we need to get rid of this card. We'll just throw it over here. And then these next 2 cards are going to come down. And we need to oh, actually, these are in the proper order, which is quite nice. And then in the solo game, as soon as this deck has run out, we actually are going to boop, get a 5th card out. And moving forward, we're going to have 5 cards that are available to us. So now we have some more options. Once this deck runs out, then we will put a blue card out in which we will have 6 cards, basically until the end of the game. And that math makes it 7 rounds. So it works out. And now we're back into another round. So we're going to go. So this tram shelter needs 2, 3, or 4 train tracks next to it. And it'll produce wood, money, and prestige, depending on how many. It only costs 1 clay. It's only worth a couple victory points. It's going to be pretty spending to get the most out of this. Railroads cost iron and wood, but I mean, it might work out. This bad boy is worth 10 victory points, which is quite a bit. This is going to be for 4, 6, or 8 railroad tracks that create a loop. We can potentially get a lot of money. And since, well, it'd be a big loop to get the 8. This is incredibly expensive as well. This costs 13? Yikes. And this is for every bridge you get $1. And then, okay. So this is like potentially worth $4. I mean, it's 20 points. What's interesting is you have to consider at the end of the game, much like other Rosenberg games, the money that you have is going to be worth a victory point each. So you kind of have to look at, it's pretty cheap to produce, except I'm essentially giving up 13 victory points to get 20 victory points, but then also, depending on the amount of extra victory points through coins or the actual prestige points that are just straight victory points, is it going to be worth it? This mine, oh, that's right, I want to make this mine. I think let's do, I guess we can actually kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So I'm gonna go to this space, which gives me this Thaler. And this space allows me to build a building and then either make a path or a road. And I can then use the wood and the Thaler that I just got to make this. And we're going to plop it here. Which this is going to be pretty easy to activate. So that's going to be good. And then let's do, well, I need a road over here. So you know what? Let's just spend the brick. Costs 1 brick to make a road. And we'll just put a road there because we can put it wherever. And then we were thinking about putting this down in the bottom. I'm going to need a lot more money to make that. This is insane because it's so spendy, and it's really expensive to get that many train tracks, and I don't know if that's what I want to lean into or not. And if I really wanted to have done this one, I probably would have wanted to put it in the corner. Yikes. Yikes. I don't love it. I don't love it. What I think we're going to do, we're going to go to this spot here, which is going to give me a Thaler. And this I can make a maximum of 2 of any type of path. And I'm actually going to spend a brick and a wood again. Actually, what was my thought? That wasn't my thought. I don't think I want to do that. I think I want to make... That's right. Not a brick. I wanted to do an iron and a wood. To get this choo-choo going. We might as well. And then I will spend a clay to just put down a path here, because if we can start to work on getting this enclosed, that would be great. We get to activate a building once all 4 sides of a building are enclosed, or if I had already enclosed this space and then put a building down, it would automatically activate. And that's pretty good. And then I think I'm going to want to go here to get 1, 2, 3 ore. You're going to find ore isn't used to to create buildings at all, but you are going to have ore as an item to exchange for other things through the buildings. And then also it's just something that gets in the way that you need to make sure you're producing, or else you're not going to be able to make iron and brick. So that's important. And then I really want to get this coin. Well, this coin's going to disappear if that jumps on it. But the question is it actually worth the effort to... You know what? I'm going to do it. So we're going to go to this space as a final action. And I'm actually going to... I'm going to spend my last brick to make another road. And we're going to do that. And I'm doing this because, not because it's a benefit to this card, because this card only needs to have one road next to it to allow for these things to trigger. But I'm doing it in case I run into another card that requires me to have roads adjacent to it. And I could... I mean, I might as well, I think. I'm just going to spend a clay, and we're going to throw down another path. Where? I don't know. Let's do this. We're going to make this... Well, or do we want to focus on that corner? I don't have a game plan. We're going to throw it here. We're just going to throw it here. I don't want to spend... Oh, you know what I can do? I am for my third, I'm actually going to spend this clay, and this might be crazy, but I'm actually just going to close this. And then what I can do as an anytime action is I can spend one Thaler to move one of these resources from a 0 spot to a 1 spot. If I wanted to move this clay up one more, I'd have to spend 2. If I wanted to spend it up again, I'd have to spend 3. So it'd be a cost of 1, and then it would be a cost of 2, and then a cost of 3, and a cost of 4. It can be very, very expensive. You can also, as an anytime action, spend 2 Thaler to click the wheel, boop, and to produce. But I'm not going to obviously do that because I know I have a free production at the end of this turn. So we're going into the next round. So let's set up the board here. So these spaces are going to get money. This disc is going to shift, and these spaces are going to get money. And then we know that I needed to make 2 buildings, and I didn't. So, and then we're going to fill these slots so that we have 5 buildings total. And we need to put these in order, which they are in order. So check that out. And then I get a free tick of the wheel. Boop. And I obviously need clay. But you know what? I'm going to get money for getting clay. So that's pretty good. All right. So the new cards. So the ore depot, I need to have 2 or more railroads next to it. And then the first time I activate it, I can spend... Basically, I can convert 3 ore into 4 prestige victory points. And then the second time it activates, I can spend 5 to get 12. So that's actually not too shabby, especially if I'm planning on having some ore sitting around. This is going to be dependent on having canals adjacent, but it only needs 1, and I can get an ore and 2 money. And then as long as I have at least a bridge, I can get 2 wood. This one seems pretty good. And I feel like I should probably... I might place it here because there's already this canal built. And then that still leaves me this corner to place this to potentially get a bunch of stuff. So let's think about that. I'm pretty sure, as awesome as this one is, I think it's going to cost too much. I just don't have the time for that. I just don't have the time. All right, so we're going to go to this spot. We're going to get a bunch of clay. I also need to get money just so I can make some canals, because this is madness. I don't want to close this loop here until I have buildings in these corners, because that's what this is based off of. Is for each building that you've raised in a corner of the board, you'll get a brick, and I obviously want to get the maximum amount of brick out of this bad boy. So we need to wait before we close this off. But this is kind of available for me to close off whenever, because I can just make a path with clay out of either of these two actions or even this action, and we're good. This is an interesting spot in that I can just immediately activate a building that I place here. So I have to consider if there is something useful to do. I might have actually hurt myself quite a bit by doing this, because most buildings need specific routes next to them to trigger. But you know what? We're just gonna deal with it for now. It might end up coming into the clutch later in the game. So I think this one could potentially be easy enough to place with another train track later. I think we do want to. I think I do want to do this one. So let's go to this action. Yeah. Let's go to this action first, because I'm not sure if I want to utilize the build for one of those or not. But I do want to build this card, which is going to cost 2 clay and a brick. And we're going to pop it here. And that's that. And then the question is, do I want to produce this, knowing how expensive it's going to be? I think I do. I think that's what we'll do, is we're gonna go to this space, and we're gonna produce this card, which is going to be 2 wood and 2 clay. And that will go there. And ideally, I'm gonna want to try to get a little bit more here. I have let's do this. We're going to use the final action to go here. You get 4 wood. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm actually going to spend one of these to bump this clay, just so we can still get this going. I know that this coin's going to end up going away, but I think that was the better call. So let's prepare the next round. This space was not used on the bottom. And then we'll return all of these. This coin's going to go away, unfortunately, because this disc is moving. But then each of these top 3 spaces, are going to be filled. And then we're going to need to bring down 2 more cards here. And let's make sure that these are in order. They're not. And then because this is empty, we need to bring out a 6th building. This game's already almost over. It's no good. I don't feel great about anything that I've done. Hopefully there's a significant shift at some point. Now you will notice that once the deck is gone on these spaces up top, these actions can either be added to or changed. So this space now is raise a building, but also be able to add a bridge. This is, instead of doing a max build of paths or build bricks, you can build a bridge and 1 path and 1 road. And then this is all about just having a 3rd build space, which is only going to be usable for the last turn, but that's typically when you're trying to squeeze out the last bit of stuff that you can get. Cool. So that ended up staying, which is fine. I just don't want it. Problem with this space being taken is I can't actually build any canals, because that's the only space that lets me build whatever I want. So I need to plan on building canals next round. And I think I'm probably going to want to build... I think I'd like to build 2. I think that would be ideal. Okay. This actually could be useful. And a max of force. Right. This I probably want to put here. And then I currently have 5. So I could get 7 points out of it. That's a tricky one, but possibly good. This is not super helpful for how I've built things so far because I don't have a lot of roads. We already know what that one is. We already know what this one is. This new one is for every card that you have not activated, you can spend an iron to get 3 victory points. That's actually not horrible since I have yet to activate anything. Oh, you know what? I didn't get my free click. That's very important. Very important. So I could build this. That's very interesting. And I've got 2 ore right now. So I could exchange 2 for 6 points. That's not amazing, but it's something. I feel like I've made a mess. I feel like I've made a mess of things. Let's see. Let's do. Well, let's go here for starters, and let's get 3 clay, and then the real question is, like, if we want to get this ball rolling, what card am I going to put up in this corner? That's not been activated. I feel like I want so much more iron before I were to activate that card. I'm gonna double check this one. So A59 is for each. Yeah, you have not. You may trade 1 iron for 3 prestige. Yeah. I wish I had way more iron. And unfortunately, none of these cards. I mean, this card is going to give me iron straight up. This is going to give me ore, which I would probably want to be able to utilize in tandem with this card. This is just a mess. It's just a mess. Yikes. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is it's 2 and a brick. And I'm saving up to build these canals, and I really don't want to screw that up. I really don't. Sorry, I'm really uncertain of my life. It's $1 per. That's not horrible, but it's expensive to make. I can't make that one. All right, let's do let's do this. I think we want to go to this space, and we're going to build for a clay and a wood. This building that we're going to place here. And I am going to spend, right? I don't want to spend the brick. I think I'm going to, oh, I can't. Yikes. Screw it. I'm going to do this to make a path here, and we're going to save this spot to make a train track that will then get that ball rolling. And then I'm pretty sure that I do want This is really tricky here. I think I'm going to actually spend 2 Thaler to get a tick of the wheel, which is going to give me 3 ore. And I'm going to spend one. Oh no, I'm going to have to spend 2. This is actually, is this a bad idea? This might be a bad idea. To get the wood up? No. You know what? We're not going to do that. We're actually just going to go to this space to get wood. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to go to this space to do 1, 2, and 1 to build this building. And we're going to place it here, which is immediately going to activate it. And this card again is for each card anywhere on your board that has not been activated, you can exchange an ore for 3 prestige. And I don't have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ore, but I've got 3 ore, and I'm going to spend it all. And we're going to get 3, 6, 9, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have some victory points. Probably okay. As much as this, I really need the production, right? Or do I just bite the bullet and not get a turn of the wheel this turn? I think I bite the bullet. I'm not going to do it. As much as that sucks. Okay, so let's do cleanup. So this is going to get a coin. And then this is moving down there. And then each of these is going to get a coin, which means this is going to get another coin. We got to remember that has 2 spaces because that is definitely worth going to. And then we're going to draw 2 cards here because we need to have 6. So this is either 2 clay or 1 brick to make. And as long as it's got a bridge attached to it, it'll give you 2 points. And then having different types of routes adjacent to it allows for exchanging wood for Thaler. That could be really good if we have a section that we can diversify the routes. And then this is, if I have more ore than iron, I can exchange the iron to get 2 wood and a specific amount of prestige points. Right now, I have 0 of both, which is not great. And we're running out of turns. I need to get some more of this stuff activated. So, we definitely, I need 1 more. I think what we're going to do to start is we're going to go to this space, which is not only going to give me that coin, but I can make 2. Yeah, I think that's the better route. I can make 2 things. I'm going to actually spend all this money. Let me make sure I'm not crazy in doing that. I probably am, but I'm going to spend all 6 money to create 2 canals. We're going to do a canal here. We're going to do a canal here. And for each canal I make, I produce 2 clay. 1, 2, 1, 2. So that's actually pretty solid. And then I actually feel okay about getting this activated. To even just get 4 wood, I think that's pretty decent. So we might have to look at doing that. Alternatively, I need to get something here. I need to get something here. I still never put something in this corner. We probably, if I have more ore, I can do that exchange. Let's do this. Let's go to this space. And I'm going to spend a brick. Or do I spend... I'm going to spend the 2 clay, actually. And we're going to make this bad boy up here. And in addition, this space allows me to do a bridge. So I will spend a wood to make a bridge. It's the first bridge that we've got going on. And I think... I mean, Let's put that bridge there. And now I feel better about activating this space. So I'm going to, well, here's the question is, do I want to raise another building and then also close that off? I know that I'm hurting on this, but I don't have the ore to make the most out of this, so I gotta wait. This space will give me ore, so I should work on closing that bad boy out. So let's do that. Oh no, I've clicked multiple things. So let's get this 2 thaler here that's been sitting here. I got 3 total. I'm gonna go to this spot. And I think, yeah. Is that a good call? I can do 1 and 1. Yeah, why not? We're going to use this top action. So instead of doing a max 3 of mix of paths and roads, we're going to do a bridge, a path, and a road, I think is what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to spend a wood to make a bridge. And I'm placing it here. And this space now has 2 bridges connected, which is one of the parameters to activate the space. And I have a card in each corner, which is going to give me a brick for each. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I am very rich in brick, and I actually don't want to activate this space again until I've spent a lot of this brick, because I can't go above 6 brick. Any excess will be lost. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend a clay to just build another path here. And then I'm going to spend a brick. You know what? Yeah, I have to do that. And then we're going to do, just in case, actually, let's make the path up here, and let's do the road here, just in case I can put something meaningful here. So this is going to completely surround this card, which is going to give me 4 ore, 2 thaler, and because I have a track adjacent to this card and one of them is on the side of the board, boom, I'm going to get 2 prestige. So that's not too bad. So we'll get the 2 prestige. We're going to get 4 ore, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2 money, which is very useful. So now suddenly I feel a little bit better about how things are going, but we still got to step it up. We got to step it up. And I'm thinking that if we could activate this space, that would be super duper. I now have 4. I could activate that space too. That would be good. Because I have the ore to do so. And I should probably do that, because if I activate this again, I can get 4 more ore, which will be, I still need to put a card down here, but yeah, let's look into that. This is also going to give me ore, I have to remember. Yikes, my brain. I'm not necessarily in love with any of these buildings, is the problem. But sometimes you have to consider too, like, yes, the bonus is good for activation, but maybe I'm just building it for victory points at the end of the day too, which never feels good, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Well, I think I'm gonna take this money and go to this spot. And the question is, well, I know that I'm gonna, oh no, I can't close this spot off because I gotta do it on this action. So I can do that next turn. I can close this one off though. I can just, I'm gonna spend the brick to make a road. Now, in case you don't know, which you might not, at the end of the game, every route that you've created, even those that were already pre-printed on the board, are going to be worth a victory point. These clay paths, though, are not going to be worth anything. But putting those out is useful because every empty route space is a negative point. So I'm basically paying a brick to ensure that I get a victory point at the end. And also, it might help me diversify this section if I need to for any reason. So I've done that, which activates this spot, which is going to give me 2 ore, and because I have 3 canals adjacent, I'm going to get 4 wood. So that's pretty good. 1, 2, 3, 4. and 2 ore, which I actually need if I'm going to activate this space again. That would be pretty good, actually. That would be pretty good. And then, yeah, the question is, am I putting down another building? I could afford this. You know what? I think I am. I'm gonna do. I'm gonna spend 2 Thaler to move this resource from a 1 to a 2, and then I'm gonna spend the 2 clay and the 1 wood to plop this bad boy down. And if I make another road off this could be good. The thing is, I gotta start getting some buildings next to each other, because I can only build bridges if there's buildings that are adjacent, and I can only activate buildings off of bridges if there's 2 connecting them. So I gotta get some of these guys together. And then of course, I'm gonna spend 1 more money to move this up, knowing that I'm gonna get that free wheel turn at the end. All right, so this round is over. This is not actually going to get a money, because that's going to go there. This money, actually, this will be 2 money, so that's nice. We'll have to remember that. So I only have 2 turns left. I have to really do something meaningful, I feel. And then let's see, what are these crazy cards here? So these, I mean, really, we don't really need to worry about these, because these guys aren't going to. That's an 8. Yep, these aren't going to disappear. So this one is, as long as it's got a road next to it, I get 3 money, and then depending on the amount of cards I have, I can get some prestige. That's very interesting. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 so far. So this would net me 3. That's kind of interesting. This is for every 2 bridges anywhere on the board. I can exchange a brick for a money and 2 points. But holy, that is so many to spend. But this is the point where you have to start looking at, like, I'm going to need these VPs. I can tell already. I feel pretty sure I'm not going to score very well in this, but we will see. Okay, so for starters, we wanted to. What did we want to do? What's really useful here? Is this the more useful? I know I have to go here, because I need to make another train track, unfortunately. So that's going to be an iron and a wood. And then now this is fully enclosed, and it has 2 or more railroads adjacent to it. The first time it's activated, I can spend 3 ore, which is all I have, to get 4 prestige points. And now I need to try to get 5 before I connect another bridge here, which is going to be tricky, because I wanted to activate this to get that ore. But it's something. We're working on it. And then I need to make 1 more thing, and it doesn't look like I'm going to really need to make more canals. Right? Is there a benefit to it? There might be a benefit to it for this card, because I want to have different types adjacent, and I can get a lot of money for that. But I need the money to build buildings. That's the problem I'm running into here. That's the problem. So let's do. let's build a road here. That's what we'll do. And then I absolutely need to go to this space, which has a couple Thaler to get clay. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we need to get some bridges built like it's nobody's business, which means this is probably the next space I'm going to. 1, 2, 3. What's the paths? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'd have a max of 8, which will give me 6 points. Ugh. But I want to make bridges too. Killing me. I think we're gonna go here, and I'm going to spend 2 brick against my better judgment to close this out, which is going to allow me to get 6 prestige points. Yikes! This is gonna be a rough game. I think this is not turning out super well. I didn't build things the way that I should have. And then I'm gonna spend a clay to just build this bad boy down here, which will activate this for the second and last time, which will give me 4 brick. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I probably need to go to this space next so that I can build a bridge. It's just one bridge. And I'm not going to be able to activate a lot of these, which feels real bad. I think I have to activate this. I gotta look at what's gonna give me points. So to start, let's spend a wood to build a bridge here, which is gonna activate this for a second time. I currently have 1, 2, which is fine because that's all the ore I had anyway. I have 2 cards that I have not activated yet, so I get to exchange 2 of those for 3 each, so that's another 6. And I'll clean this up later, I suppose. And then I still get to build a building. Not that I have a lot of goods to do so. That's just cards anywhere. That's not going to yield as much. I'm kind of tempted. Do I do this one? I don't know if I'm going to get anything out of it, is the problem. But it's worth points. Yeah, I think we do that. I think we're going to spend the last... What is this? So it's... I know I want to put it here. We're going to spend the 1 wood, I'm spending all of my resources. Oh, I don't have the iron that I just spent on the activation. Oof. It will cost me $8 to get the 2 ore that I need, or the iron that I need to make this. 1, 2, 3, 1. Yeah, this is gonna be a rough game here. that is 10 points. I know I'm not going to have a route, but I think it'll basically be like 6 points that I would get off of it. I'm thinking of making this, even though I'm not going to ever activate it. This might not be horrible because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I actually have a lot. I have to be able to activate that bad boy though. Yeah. The amount of wood that I have though is troublesome because this will cost me 5 money to move the wood up. One, two, three, four, 5. It literally will cost me all of the money I have to build this. I'm giving up 8 to get like 11, assuming I can activate it at least once. I don't think I'm going to be able to activate it twice. Unless I put it here. Maybe it's worth it. This is going to be crazy. We're going to play it out. Screw it. Why not? So to move the wood from a 1 to a 2, I spend 2 money. And to move the wood from a 2 to a 3, I spend 3 money. And we are going to spend the 3 wood that I just got and 2 of these bricks and the last of my money to raise this building up. And that hurts. And that's the end of the penultimate round. And this card is actually going to get discarded. And these last 2 cards will come out. This is an ore? Oh, interesting. For tracks anywhere, get a... Oh, that's not horrible. The problem is I'm not going to get that wheel tick because of this, and that's pretty rough. This might be a really bad last round, and that space is taken. And this will get another money, and this will get a money, and a money, and a money. That was 2 money. Excuse me. And here we go. So we know that this probably is very ideal. We know we just got to build a bunch of routes. I think we got to try to clean this board up a little bit. And then I have 3 actions I can potentially do, 3 spaces I can go to build a bridge to activate any of these spaces. Yikes! This requires 2 bridges to activate this space, which would give me 2 ore and 4 wood. This space is probably the most worth activating twice. Because I'm going to get like $14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that's the max that I can get Thaler. And then for everyone after that, it would be a wood. But I've got brick, so I could like make 2. Very interesting. I think this is my game plan. This is my game plan for right now to try to make the most of this. So I'm going to go here, and we are going to build no, I lied. I don't want to go to that space. I want to go to this space. That's what we're going to do. And I'm actually going to spend this dollar to move my wood up so that I can build a bridge off of this thing. But to start, let's focus on, we're going to spend a clay to make a route, and we're going to spend a brick. Yeah, I think it's worth it to do this. So this is going to complete this. So I do have at least one road adjacent, which I needed to do anyway, actually, so it's good I did that. And then for every road that is on the board, I will get $1 up to 7. And then for every road after that, I'm going to get a wood. So this is the 8th one that I placed. So I'm actually going to get 7 money and a wood. So let's actually take back the $1 that I spent to get the wood, because I maybe don't need to do that. And then we're going to get 7. 5, 6, 7. And then I need to build a bridge. And really the question is here. So like this is the most immediately accessible card to trigger with another bridge. And this will get me some points. I currently have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 9 paths. So I have basically I have a max of 10 in that instance, in which I would get 5 points for triggering this, which is not too bad. I do have to consider, though, if I can get a bridge here and a bridge here, this card will trigger for a second time, which is going to give me another wood and 7 money, which is more than 5 victory points if I don't spend all that money. So that is probably the most cost-effective card at this moment. I would have loved to have gotten these cards going. I just failed to do so. Especially this one would have been nice, because this is all kinds of things. I think I'm going to like live and die by this card here. So yeah, we're going to spend... I think I moved that wood too many times, right? It should be 1. I'm gonna spend the wood to do a bridge here. And then I'm going to, because now I have to consider, am I building anything as well? Let's go to this spot where we know that I am spending this coin to gain the wood that I'm going to spend to build a bridge. And we're going to put it here. This activates again. Again, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to get 7 money. And then that 8th road is going to be worth a wood. I don't know if I cheated myself out of a wood or not, but we'll move past it. And then I have to decide, am I building something? Which now I have a lot of money, and I could build many things. Which actually, I'm wondering, this is worth... What is... What is this? So if I have a maximum of just any paths anywhere, I get some points. And then as long as this has a road next to it, I'll get 3 money. That's quite interesting. I don't know. I mean, it is worth 8 points. This is still up for grabs. And I have 13 money. But this seems silly to build, right? Now I have to think about this, because if I were to place this in this spot, I still have the chance. I mean, I have multiple spaces to build brick, or to build roads, and I have 2 brick left to make more roads. So I could completely surround this and get 6 points off of this. Oh, but I wouldn't have any bridges. So, I mean, I have to look at, I'd be spending 13 money. This is worth 20 victory points, so I'm exchanging 20 for 13, basically, right? So it'd basically be 13 points if I can activate it the one time, which is pretty good, actually. That might be the most conducive. And I consider that putting the bricks down is going to ultimately be worth victory points as well. I think that that's what we do. It's crazy spendy, but I'm going to spend 10, 11, 12. That's actually most of my money. 13. Oh, I didn't have an ore. I keep doing this. My life is a lie. My life is a lie. So this ore situation has screwed me over twice now. The last game I played of this, I had like a crazy abundance of ore with the way things were going. And this game is just not going in my favor. What sucks is like this requires ore too. This just requires 1 ore. This is probably the best thing I can make, actually. And this is going to be, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23. I don't even meet the criteria to get 1. I don't have enough. Man, that sucks. So let me think here. If I spend $1 to move this ore up 1, actually that's all I needed, right? Am I losing my mind? Yeah, and then I spend $2. Man, I'm $1 short to make this thing. Okay. I'm very sorry for taking so much time on this. So really the question is, do I just make another building off of this and then make that building off the next one, because I'm probably going to go to this spot, which will give me some extra thaler. I think that's the question that needs answered. So that's 2, 2, 1, and 3. That does give me another bridge, though. Man, this is way more of a struggle than I was anticipating. You could spend $3 to put that card down. Be 1 to move. I think what I'm going to do to get this ball rolling, based on what I have available, 2, 2, 1, and 3. I have to consider it's going to be 1 and then 2 more. I hate this, but I'm going to spend $3. One of those dollars is going to move this ore. The other 2 is to get a free wheel turn. Okay? And I am going to I'm going to sorry guys. Let me think here. Okay, I think I know what I need to do. So we're going to rewind. I'm not moving this. I'm taking my $3 back. It's a solo game. Nobody's watching. You're allowed takebacks. Who cares? So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to spend $2 to move this wood up to the 2 spot. And then we are going to spend $3, 2 wood and 2 clay. Oh, goodness. And a brick. And this is the building that we're going to produce. And we're going to put this bad boy right there. Okay? That's what's happening. That's the turn right now. Next turn, we're going to go here, which not only gives me $1, but I can build a couple things. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend $1 to move this up, to then spend to make a path, which is going to trigger this. Which, for starters, I do have a road adjacent to this, so I am going to get 3 money. Oh my goodness. So that is something. And I believe what I would like to do is make one more road. Right? That was the idea. We're going to make one more road. Spending that brick. I have 0 resources. And then the final turn of the game, which feels super bad, but I need to do it, is we're going to go here, and we are going to spend 13... Oh, wait, I screwed this up so bad, didn't I? Dude, I totally did. Because I needed to spend... Oh, no. I did all of this to specifically build this damn building. And it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So, I guess the question is there any way for me to spend the last few bucks to get like one more building down that's going to yield me a decent number of points? That's the question. Let's see. Man, as bad as this is, yeah, I mean, my move is basically going to be spending $5 because that's $1, $2, $3, and then $2 more for a free wheel turn to get this one ore that I'm going to use to build this building that I'm just placing down anywhere to get some points, which, I mean, I guess I just spent $5 to get 4 victory points, so that probably wasn't worth it. Is that really how the math checks out? Dude, it totally does. I'm going to take my $5 back. And we're just not gonna build a building. I think as bad as that is, I don't have the resources to do it. But I think what I will do is I will spend $1 to get a clay that I can spend to do a final path to activate this last building, which is going to give me an ore and 2 money. And then I don't have any bridges attached, so I'm not going to get any of that. And that's it. That's the game. So let me try to consolidate some things here real quick, and we will tally up the score. Okay, I consolidated a couple things here. So this is going to be pretty bad. But let's give it a shot. So to start, we're going to count what the total is of all the victory points of the buildings in our industry boards. So we are going to have, it looks like 51 points for buildings. So that's not too shabby. Then we're going to count out how much money we have, which we have 16 money. And then we're going to count up our prestige tokens, which I have 22, which is fine. Then we're going to look at the total of, basically for each iron and brick you have, it's a victory point. I've got none, so that's a 0. And then we're going to look at all of these resources on this side of the wheel, and whatever you have the least of, you get points off of, which is 0. So I don't have anything. Then we're going to look at every non-empty route that is not a path, and we're going to get a point for those. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That's all right. And then we're going to subtract for every non-completed route. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that is going to bring us to a grand total of 99, which is actually the worst game that I have played so far. And 99 is actually the second to bottom score for solo. It's less than 80, and then 80 to 99, and then 100 to 119, 120 to 129, 130 to 139, 140 to 149, and 150 plus. And I think my first solo game, I was in the 120 to 129 range, which is right in the middle. This was a very bad game. But hopefully this lets you kind of see how the game plays. I can tell you this was a completely different game than the three that I played before it, based on the decisions that you make, based on the buildings that are going to come out and the order those buildings are going to come out. You're going to have very different synergies that are going to work for you, or you're going to be working against the lack of synergies or your lack of planning. Uh, and I mean, I think I definitely struggled the most. I haven't had to stop and think as much in any of the previous games, so this one ran a little bit longer than it usually does too. Um, but that always seems to be the case when I'm trying to record a video for people to watch, is that I play the worst and things go against me. But hopefully you enjoyed it and it gave you some kind of an idea of how cool this game is and if it's something that you might enjoy. Um, because it's a pretty great solo game, and it actually is surprisingly an excellent two-player game that plays just as well. And I'm really excited to get my hands on it. So that is that is it. Have a good one.